Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. In War of the Visions JP, let's do Wednesday Weepy Thinking. No particular reason to call this Weepy, there's just not a lot of adjectives that start with W. But I'm going to talk about my plans from now through to New Year. Talk about how I approach the issue of spending in a game, where there have been some shenanigans revealed. And then we'll end with some guaranteed pulls. But first, let's do just this free pull. 10 units. No guarantee of anything like a rarity of anything. Oh, gold! That's a nice surprise. For lower rarity, I would like more of Inori and Tsubayaki in preparation for their future EX jobs. And there's also one MR unit that I have not gotten yet. She's kind of a magic user. Oh, good. That was Tsubayaki. There's one MR I have not gotten yet, and I would like her. Okay, Rainbow, Sakura, Nivlu, people like that. Hey, look at that! Speak of the devil. That's a good start to this video. Okay. First, sorry to disappoint you all, but I'm going to skip Christmas Victoria. Thank you for taking the time to write all the comments, but just that wall standing in front of me of like 800 or 1,000 shards is just too much. And even with the boost of a guaranteed step up, it's still going to be too much, I think. And I'm skipping her for multiple reasons in addition to that high cost. The same reasons that I had from before, where I just maxed regular Victoria, and I'm working on another sniper, and that is Nivlu. But there are two new reasons. For one thing, I pulled, amazingly, the Rob vision card. I admit that I did really want this, and I was kind of sad that the 5-step up expired yesterday for the guaranteed get. But amazingly, this morning I got him in one of those free pulls, where it's like a 10-shot. One is a rare pull, and then the other 9 are materials. This was in there, so I was like, wow. And then it's still during the time when you can build it up. Like the shop is still there to buy the shards, and then it's still in the daily rotating thing. So I have a week to work on it, so that's very cool. Let's get that right now, actually. I take this as a sign that the universe wants me to work on the card, and I feel like if you pull anything by accident during the time that it is featured, then I think you gotta play it zen, you gotta work on that, and then get it leveled up, because that's a great opportunity. I don't know if I'm gonna push in this week to max this vision card, but since vision cards can be hard to work on if they're not featured, I might want to do that. But yeah, since I have Rob at 120, you know, I can get greater benefit from it than a lot of other players. And then that's really going to make me want to take him into PvP, especially with maybe an evade build, so that's exciting. And that's going to be my project, at least probably until the end of the year, so that's another reason why I'm going to skip Christmas Victoria. The other reason is that there's very likely going to be a Nier Automata collaboration coming on the 30th. I put a hint in a previous video, but I guess most people didn't catch on it, so that's probably what the next collaboration is going to be. I'm a casual fan of the game. I never played it myself, but I've watched playthroughs in both Japanese and English. And the design of 2B is probably the best character design in any media of the last 5 years. Maybe Nezuko from Kimetsu no Yaiba is a distant second, but let me know if you think there's somebody who looks cooler last 5 years. But I used 2B and A2 extensively in Brave Exvius, and they were a lot of fun in there, especially 2B with her LB and all her breaks. However, this doesn't necessarily mean that I will pull for the Nier units if they come, because still I'm looking at that wall 800 or 1,000 shards high that I have to potentially climb in like 2 weeks, although it might be longer than that. But in my mind, weighing Christmas Victoria versus Nier in my mind, Nier wins. We'll see if there's a handout unit or like an MR unit. That might scratch my Nier itch well enough. If I did go for Nier, however, I would feel okay going for it, because I've skipped a lot recently. Final Fantasy IV, I wanted all the characters, of course, but I just took Rosa to 89. In Halloween, I just got the Vision card. I skipped Final Fantasy X almost completely. I did max Christmas Mashiri here, but she was at level 89 anyway. And now I'm going to skip Vineta and Vixora. I'm probably going to skip Ramada, even though they're giving me a lot of the soul orbs, but we'll see what happens there. And then I did go pretty hard on the first batch of EX units, but that was kind of more about farming than it was pulling the hatchers or buying stuff from the shop. So yeah, I kind of felt like I've been sort of on a diet lately. My talisman has been working for me. Next, let's talk about how to feel about spending in or playing a game in the face of a scandal. First of all, in Global, there was no scandal, so there we can all feel free to continue on as before. But there are still people out there convinced that what didn't happen in Global was the exact same thing that happened in JP. And that is the consequence of folks screaming out, "Kill the ghost," before knowing if there was a ghost or not. And then even if the original axe wielders have now dropped their axes, there are a lot of people out there that are still clinging to theirs. In JP, however, we still have the shadow of an actual scandal involving tables hanging over every hatcher. And so how do players proceed with paying and playing in this environment, with that shadow of a doubt in their mind? Again, for every player it's going to be different, and I think it comes down to how three different factors measure up against each other. One, how much they love the game. Two, their tolerance for BS. And then three, how much they hate the game and or the company. Notice I did not say that love of the company was a factor, because it shouldn't be a factor. Sometimes people mistake their love of the game for the love of the company. Those should be separate things, and really nobody should love the company unless you work for it. But like with any mobile game, it's basically an internal struggle between an individual's love and hate for the game, with their tolerance for BS acting as like a buffer. But let's say I love parts of the game a certain amount, we'll call it X. I also hate parts of the game a certain amount, we'll call that Y. For me, as long as X is greater than Y, then I can feel comfortable spending in or playing the game. And then if X is significantly higher than Y, then I can feel good about spending in the game or playing the game. However, if Y is greater than X, then I have to consider if I want to keep playing or if I want to cut back on spending or playtime or something. And then the tolerance for BS, we'll call that Z, that can keep you in the game or keep you spending even if Y is higher than X. You can think of it as like a block to put on top of X, hopefully to get higher than Y. And so, you know, when we're looking at each other, when we're judging each other, we really shouldn't be doing that. But just because one person, like their X and Y values are this, doesn't mean that they need to push their feelings onto another person, because their X and Y comparison might be different. But if you're looking at someone and you can tell that their hatred for the game is way more than their love of the game, but they keep playing, maybe at that point you can say, maybe you should, you know, give it up, man. The thing is that all of these values, X, Y, and Z, are all in constant flux. And then every time some kind of major event happens, like a new unit form, or a new game mode, or some meta unit arrives and mixes up everything, or there's like some kind of scandal or a major bug, then those three values can shift, and then we have to reassess our feelings and see if we need to make adjustments to how we spend or play. To use myself and the JP version as an example, my X value, my love for the game, was pretty consistently high for the first full year. Power creep was handled well, drop rates were decent, there were no serious bugs, communication was clear and frequent, rewards were plentiful. My hate for the game was low. I disliked stuff like all the tapping through menus, but it was like so minor compared to all the things that I loved about the game. And then Z, my tolerance for BS, that was high coming into the game. Part of that comes from being just a patient, analytical person. But part of that also comes from years of experience with gacha games and knowing like what is normal, what is expected, what is inevitable. But with the discovery of the table hatchers, my hate for Gumi went up, and then with it, my tolerance for BS was kind of shaved down a little bit. My love of the game, however, was not affected, and it's still much higher than the Y value. Because even if the pool was limited, I still got what I wanted, and then looking back on the full year of pulls, I was pretty happy with all of the stuff that I got. The tolerance for BS is probably the thing that differs the most from person to person. How much they start with, and then how much each type of BS shaves it down. And some people, they are very unforgiving, and so like if one major thing goes wrong with the game, it's not like their BS tolerance is shaved off so much as like shattered. And for them, you know, that might be enough for them to want to quit the game or something. The thing about that, though, is that you need to sort of build up your tolerance for BS, or else you're not going to have a game to play. Every game is going to have screw-ups. We just have to hope that they're going to be more honest than dishonest, and, you know, compromise so that we have a game to play. But yeah, still with JP, my X value is much greater than my Y value, which is why I still feel comfortable spending in this game. But, you know, just apart from all of that, I was moving away from getting characters anyway, and focusing on vision cards and getting shards for my EX job units. So that's where my spending is focused. So again, yeah, even if Nier comes around, it's not guaranteed that I'm going to go for those characters. Okay, to end this video, let's do this 10-shot. This will give me 5 UR units, 100 shards each. I think you know all the characters that I want. I do not want any Christmas characters, so hopefully we do not get any of those. Okay, let's pull. Yeah, shards is what I want, not more characters. Okay. Let's see what we get. Mashiri, okay, alright. She's already past 200 for EX jobs, so that'll make it even easier to get her to 120 when she gets EX jobs. Next. Stern, okay. Well, maybe later if he gets EX jobs, then he'll be further along there. Alright. Oh, no! Alright, I'm skipping her. Alright, let's see what we get here. Christmas Mashiri. Alright, well, maybe she gets more EX jobs in the future. That will help me there. That's not the end of the world. Okay, last. Let's see what we get. Vineta. Alright, that's cool. So, I really got more of what I already had a lot of, which is fine. I'll show you my orbs here. So, let's see. Alright, here's Mashiri. Well on her way to 400. And then... who else was there? Ah, Vineta. She's very close to 400 too, so that's good. And then Stern, 180. Christmas Mashiri, 120. And I think that is how that is looking. Okay, I really wanted Miranda, didn't get her. But I'm glad I did not get Christmas Victoria, because that might have tempted me to want to pull her after all. Okay, I think that'll do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.